Okay, so I want to tell a little story about this thing that happened one time. And this isn't supposed to be a funny story. This is one of the few unfunny stories that I do. But yeah, still want to tell it. Okay, so when I was in the army, I started getting into Spice. Most people have probably at least seen that shit, tried it at least once. It was pretty big in 2009, 2010, especially in the military. Because at the time, there was no drug test for it. I don't know if they ever came up with a test. They surely didn't have one back then. And the type of spice that they had at Fort Drum, the head shop they had outside of Fort Drum, it's called the High Life, was just top shelf shit. You only hear about the bad spice in the media, but they had good spice too. And they had this shit that was so much like weed. It looked like it smelled like it felt like it was the same high. It was incredible. It was like being able to smoke weed in the army as much as you wanted, and they could not test you. Just awesome. At one point, I was smoking it in my room in the barracks. I would get high on spice and go to PT. I mean, this shit was crazy, right? I never got caught. And they eventually had to ban soldiers from going to the High Life. Like, this is orders from the commanding general of Fort Drum. The post commander, nobody listened. It's not like they're going to catch you. They couldn't enforce that. But whatever. And after I get out of the army, I continue to smoke spice. Especially when I couldn't get any weed, of course. Now, I did say before they had good spice and bad spice. And I've had plenty of both. And now I'm going to tell you about the bad shit. Okay? There was this head shop in Baldwin, Long Island. It's when I was living in Long Beach. And it'd be basically on my way home from school. It was called Days. It's on Sunrise Highway in Baldwin. And they didn't sell any spice like the shit at Fort Drum. No, they sold this like Mr. Nice Guy shit. And I'd never had this before. I didn't even know what it was. But I'm like, oh, give me some of that. So I get a packet of this shit called Relaxinol. Okay, that doesn't sound bad. I mean, just from the name, seems okay, right? Wrong. I go home and I start smoking this shit, and immediately it just starts making me sick, right? I mean, like violently sick. I'm talking like projectile vomiting into my toilet for 10 minutes straight. 10 minutes straight. I think I'd ever puke like this in my entire life. Yeah. And I guess this was like super crack addictive on top of it. Like, no matter how much it fucks you up, you just want to do it again. Even if you hate it, you still do it, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I fucking puke for 10 minutes, smoke some more. Then I go like puke for another 10 minutes, and then I smoke some more. And this shit had me tripping fucking balls, bro. And I'm not talking about a good trip. I'm talking about a really bad, really paranoid trip. You know, like fucking Jesse Pinkman for Breaking Bad, when he thought that like the, what do you call it, the Jehovah's Witness kids were like these bikers coming to murder him or something. Yeah, it was like that type of trip. And I'm literally huddled up on my couch in a fetal position, staring at the door, thinking these like fucking stormtroopers like that are gonna bust down the door and like kill me, right? Like, oh my god, oh shit, oh, bro, they're fucking coming, right? Oh shit, they're gonna get me. And this went on for a while. And meanwhile, I would smoke, and then I'd pass out for 2 hours, and then I would smoke again and pass out for another couple of hours, and then do it again and just rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And within a couple of days, this shit had already turned me into a fucking crackhead. I mean, I'd never done anything like this before. I'd smoke crack. And it sure as hell didn't do this. I've done crack. I've done heroin. I've done a lot of shit. I even did PCP. Even PCP didn't fuck me up like this. This was the dirtiest drug, the worst shit I ever took in my life. Man, like, I can't believe people would even buy this. I can't believe I did. It was terrible. And it got to the point where I would sit in my apartment and smoke this shit all day long. I mean, how much it fucked me up, I just smoked more and more and more and more of it. It was awful, right? But somehow, I still went to school, right? I was still actually going to class. I would just go to class, come straight home, and smoke more spice. You know, I didn't study, I didn't do my homework, I didn't do shit. I just sat in class like, okay, it's 3 o'clock. Yeah, you can go smoke more spice now. Or more Relaxinol. And I got to the point where I was too lazy to buy food. Yeah, when you're too lazy to eat, you know you're fucked up. And there's one night, roughly maybe 2 weeks, I was binging on this shit. 2 weeks, give or take. I had no food in the apartment at all, save for one single box of white rice. And I can't cook rice to save my life. It always comes out like shit. Tastes like shit. But when I'm fucked up, forget about it. I'm like, man, I should get some food. I'm like, no, I don't want to go out. I'll just cook this rice. So I tried cooking the rice, and predictably, it comes out completely fucking disgusting, right? I mean, it was so nasty that I literally took one bite, spit it out in the sink, and for the only time, really the only time in my life, yeah, I've had kind of a privileged life compared to a lot of people. The only time in my life I went to bed hungry without eating. I just passed out and went to sleep. And then like the next day or a couple of days later, I had mentioned I was going to class still. I said, fuck it, I don't even want to go to school today. So I start smoking more spice. And I'm like, man, this shit's fucking me up bad, bro. What is going on? Is it me or is it really this bad? So I go online and I start Googling, like, spice ruined my life, spice is addictive, blah, blah, blah. And I start reading all these testimonials from, like, wives whose, husbands started using spice. Like, oh, he's only been smoking for 2 weeks and now that's all he does. It's his whole life. He never comes out of his bedroom. He just smokes that crap all day long. Or, oh, my husband doesn't even want to hold our baby anymore. He just wants to get high on this garbage. Oh, he quit his job in 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck? God damn, I wasn't imagining this. It's really that bad. What am I doing to myself? And finally, I had a choice to make, right? I just bought another 3-gram packet from that head shop, Days. I'm like, should I just finish this and smoke it? Or should I just get rid of it? Smoke it, get rid of it. Then finally I said, you know what? Fuck this. Because if I smoke this packet, I'm just going to want to get another one. Gotta stop sometime. So I picked up the packet. I walked into the bathroom, flushed all 3 grams down the toilet. It was barely open. And then I never smoked that shit ever again. I think I smoked spice 1 or 2 more times in my life. Never Relaxinol again. Hell no. And then about a year after that, New York State made it illegal. Like completely illegal. And if all spice was like Relaxinol, that I would totally understand. If they wanted to ban that shit. Because that shit was the fucking devil. That was about the worst 2 weeks of my life. And I wish I'd never touched that shit in the first place. Because like I said, I've done crack, heroin, PCP. It was worse than all of them. Oh yeah. So this was my little story about me smoking this nasty, dirty spice, Relaxinol. It just fucking me up and turning me into a zombie within a week. And thank God having the intestinal fortitude to flush that shit and never do it again. What a time. What a fucking time.